I like that.
Welcome to Heat Check, where we meet people from across Duke's community as they test their spice tolerance. I'm your host, Suraj, and thank you to Elijah's Extreme for providing us with the hot sauces that we're going to be using today. I also want to give a really big shout out to Speedy and El Forno for these amazing wings. Today we have an awesome guest. Dean Blackshear, since 2001, has had a variety of roles at Duke, the most recent of which being the Dean of Students. Unfortunately, starting January 1st, Dean Blackshear will be taking on a new role at the University of Rochester as the Vice President of Student Life. However, whether it was as the faculty in residence or as a staff psychologist for CAPS, Dean Blackshear has truly left a lasting impact on the Duke community. Dean Blackshear, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you with spice, by the way?
I'm from Savannah, Georgia, so
Okay.
we tend to do with spice. And our whole mantra has been, if you're not sweating and sneezing, it ain't season.
We're gonna reach that stage.
Let's
today.
get it. All right.
Definitely. So this first wing is a pineapple mango hot sauce.
Okay.
You ready?
Mango.
This one's been a crowd favorite, so I'm curious to know what you think about the sauce.
A little bland for me.
Okay. For the first question, I'm really curious to hear, do you have any interesting or crazy stories from your time as a forensic psychologist?
Interesting or crazy? Yes, I have a ton of them. My experiences of working with serial killers has been probably some of the most interesting.
Wow.
And there's a guy who is known as a serial killer whisperer. He was a Texas Ranger, and they did a 60-minute special about him. My wife and I watched that special, and we were like, "This dude is a trip," and because our work aligned so well. But he was coming from the law enforcement side, and he got this person in a serial killer who was on death row in California, to sort of open up about all of these kills that he did between, when he was out active, and it helped resolve a bunch of cases, so he became known as this person. And then years later, after watching that, I'm sitting in my office and I get a email that says, "Hi, my name is XYZ. I'm here at Duke University and I want to meet you." And I was just like, I think this might be the same guy.
No way.
Turns out his daughter was here for a summer program, and the Duke student that was walking him around, he was talking about her favorite classes, and she happened to mention mine, and he started asking questions about it, and then Duke shows up at my office, and his voice is so distinctive, and I was just like, I watched the 60-minute special on you, so I took him over to go meet my wife, the whole nine, and then as we're talking, I was like, you and I worked the case together, and you didn't know, and he was like, we did, and I was like, yeah. I was like, they brought you in to work on the case with a guy, and the guy was absolutely resistant. I would not talk to him, and then they brought me in behind him, and next thing you know, this guy's like drawing pictures for me, and and being like this, and so the Texas Ranger guy was pretty stunned.
What's the secret? How did you get him to talk?
Build rapport.
Okay.
That's the way you do it. You know what I mean? I tend to be able to make people feel connected pretty quickly,
Okay.
and then there's also sort of a safety and understanding that you can tell me anything, and I'm not going to fall out of my seat, and I'm also going to respect your humanity. So let's go. That's what we do.
You ready to move this second wing?
Come on.
Let's do it. So I want to talk to you about your leadership philosophy. You lead a team that involves everything from CAPS to housing and residence life. How do you go about staying on top of all of these areas, and how do you curate such an amazing team?
My philosophy to leadership is threefold. You have to be incredibly clear about why you're serving as a leader. And I have never had an ambition to lead people.
Okay.
If your ambition is to lead people, you're going to screw it up all day long. You have to be called to lead, meaning that it has to be an act of service. And then when it's an act of service, you don't bring down your authority and your thoughts and everything on people. You share your vision. You give them a philosophy that's tied to your values as a leader. And then, for me, If my world is a pyramid, we're this way.
Okay.
Right? So everybody who so-called work for me, stands on this line, and my job is to make sure that I am supporting all of these tentacles, supporting them to do their work at the apex of their capacity. The third part is to be clear about what my philosophy and vision is, and it has to always come from the heart.
Okay.
It has to partly be guided by my brain, but the other part is to be guided by my heart. So all of my teams understand that for me, service to the Duke community means consistent excellence. However a person shows up, whenever they show up, they should be met with the best of who we are. Okay. Right? And if you can't be your best today, go home, go to sleep. Yeah. Get some rest. Come back tomorrow. That's why we got big teams. The second part of that is we should be prepared and open to whoever walks in the door. Okay. So you don't have to go around doing DEI groups and workshopping and training if you are prepared for and open to the human being that walks into the door. Yeah. Because diversity, equity, and inclusion isn't a skill. It's a lifestyle. And I always tell folks that you're going to always have inequity when your diversity is not included. And I don't have to match you by race, history, or background. But boy, if I'm prepared to receive you, I'm prepared to serve you, and I'm prepared to care for you, it won't matter anyway. Gotcha. You know what I mean? You know how many black folk from Savannah, Georgia, could not help me when other people have had to help me? Yeah. Right? It's not those simple topographic things that make us successful. It's how we show up and how we actually serve in our work. And then the other thing is, I expect a world-class and innovative operation. I don't care what it is. Yeah. Right? Meaning that when we're so resourced here, we should never be imitating anybody. We should be innovating based on, being world producers of how to do this, how to practice this craft better than anybody else. This is why me as a psychologist, as a dean of students, and hopefully as a VP, I always study great artists to determine how to do my work. Yeah. Believe it or not, I don't study like other VPs, dean of students. I don't do that. Yeah. Because I'm a musician. So I've always, really got into how can I be a psychologist, a dean of students, a faculty and residents? How do I teach my class in the way that Prince created art, in the way that Bruno Mars does a stage show, in the way that Michael Jackson performed? Like, how do I do that in that way and leave a feeling that lasts and a change in the people who encounter?
On that note, no pun intended. Let's go to the third wing.
Okay.
How you doing with the spice, by the way?
Wait a minute, man. Did you bite that?
I took a bite out of it. I'll take another bite.
What you right here doing, dog?
This one's for you.
Come on, get in there. There you go. He's hiding. All right, let's get it.
There we go. What changes and mental health challenges that students face have you noticed over the past couple decades? And how can universities adapt and evolve to meet these new needs that we have?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, 18 to 26-year-olds have experienced the same types of challenges probably for eons, because it's an interesting period of development. And the reason why it is that there's this prefrontal cortex and neurological development that's taking place. The thing that has changed, and a lot of people will blame the pandemic on this, but I do not. I blame a shift in parenting in this culture. Is 18-year-olds into 22-year-olds to 22-year-olds have gotten younger. Okay. It's shocking to me how many people have never engaged in unsupervised play. Yeah. Right? How many people have never engaged in where, like, you and your friends jumped on the bikes and disappeared for the day.
Yeah.
Right? Where parents would lose their minds not knowing exactly where you're. Like, I've got students here who are adults whose parents track their movement on their iPhones.
Oh, definitely.
That's some wild jazz to me. Like, are you kidding me? It resulted in my opinion, college students experiencing a host of mental health problems that come with being arrested developmentally by this notion that they are so fragile and so incapable that parents have to be their executives even into adulthood. Okay. And, you know, the people have heard me, parents have heard me speak at the last 2 years at the big parent thing in the gym, is I've asked them to help us, help you emerge into adulthood by letting you down. Okay. Yeah. But the positive change, let me give you some of that. Yeah. The pandemic has made students more likely to say, I need help. Okay. I love that. There's so much strength and vulnerability and in the capacity to say, I need help, and to be open to that help. That, to me, if the pandemic has given us anything that I hope will sustain, it is the willingness of our people to not to let go of the whole perfectionistic fallacy. Yeah. And just be human. And just say, I need help. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's great. Let's do the fourth one.
All right.
How's that bite for you? Good?
Mm-hmm. I got some heat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's going to get to you. All right. What? This fourth wing is a rapid fire segment.
All right.
So I'm going to rattle off a couple questions. You ready? Mm-hmm. I know you touched upon this a little bit, but what's a musical song or artist that you think everyone should be listening to?
Woo! That's a good one. Soulfish.
Okay.
All right. Soulfish is a Duke band, by the way.
Favorite book that you think everyone should be reading?
Black AF History.
Okay. Favorite quote or saying?
Don't let it worry you.
Oh, wow.
Okay. My grandmother.
Gotcha.
And it was, no matter what it was, her mantra was always, don't let it worry.
Okay. Do you have any funny stories from your time as a faculty in residence at Trinity? You've got
tons,
that.
Tons,
I know,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Me beaten in the first round of a pool tournament by a young woman who doesn't play pool at all. My house was full of students, and I went and grabbed my own cue stick, and I was like, I'll be right back. I'm going to make light work of her. You know what I mean? And I'm playing and all that, and I get my thing in, and then I sank the 8-ball, and the room erupts. Yeah. And like people who I talk trash to all the time was like so happy. And as I'm walking back to my apartment, I hear them being like, "Oh, it's the walk of shame. Yeah. How awful is it? Do you know how hard it is to watch somebody you used to respect?" Oh, so yeah. So the students they gave me hell for the rest of the semester.
Do you have any quick advice for students, Duke students?
Don't be afraid of, but enjoy the future. Like, really, really get into imagining yourselves being creators of that future. And y'all are some of the smartest fucking people in the world. And I want to see you taking the reins of world leadership. And there's no set of young people that I have met that I would trust with that future more than I do Duke students.
All right. Oh, yeah. Final wing.
Let's get it. We might be crying after this one.
Oh. Ready?
Yeah. Woo woo! That was
really
fire.
Right there, that one's kind of an immediate.
I like that.
I know you're moving to Rochester, to the University of Rochester, to be their first ever vice president of student life.
Yeah.
What do you hope to bring with you from Duke, and how do you hope Duke evolves past your time here?
Oh, man.
Kind of a hard-hitting question right now.
Yeah. So, everything that I've learned here, I'll bring with me. My understanding of what it means to educate incredibly bright, capable people. How to organize and think about support structures around students and how to build those out in a way that not only promotes students' intellectual growth, but their human growth. And I think the thing that I hope resonates at Duke was the changes I tried to make that make Duke a more open space for everyone. Yeah.
What are you gonna miss most about Duke?
The students.
Yeah.
Not the buildings. Not basketball. I love basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I love Duke football. I'm gonna miss that the most. I'm gonna miss my students. Y'all made my life. You helped me be a better human being, and I love it.
Yeah. How are we with the spice right now?
That's all.
You haven't touched your milk at all.
Yeah. I'm gonna see. It out.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's nice and hot though. Man,
we're sweating,
good.
but
yeah, that's
we did
really
it.
Good. That's really good.
Let's go.
Yeah. Thank you, my brother. Thanks for having me. And his crabs was known for like being super spicy. And like when you're eating it, if you weren't doing this, he was like, I gotta that.
I gotta give you.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.